Oh.
Hello, hello.
Hello, sunshine.
Can light up some smudge. Oh, the energy. There's so much energy that I almost feel like my heart chakra has got another thing going on. And I haven't even left my house. So we're just going to wait a few minutes while others join us. I'm excited about tonight. However, I am scattered. I don't even know where I'm going to begin. My smudge smells like tobacco. Whoa, now look at that. See that straight line? Show them the straight line. When it goes straight like that, that's when it's killing stuff. And then when it spreads out, that's when it's nice and positive. It's like as soon as my mind knows I'm doing this, all of a sudden I get like dry mouth. That feels good. Beautiful day today after the storm. Okay, we're just going to wait a few minutes before we get started. Welcome, Laura. I'm so sorry about the technical stuff. I put a request in for help, so. I'm having trouble on the group page, so if you have posted anything and I haven't been able to get to you, let me know. I hope you're watching those videos or listening to them. And for, there's a couple people that are coming on this month. There is videos posted on the group page. So as soon as you're in there, you'll be able to see some of the videos that are posted. Now, for a few months, we've been doing different we've been making different connections with different things. So we went into numerology, we went into a little bit of astrology. So there's some videos there that you can check out. You will eventually be doing that class, but if you wanted to know a little bit more about yourself. So the first few classes has been about learning how to connect with the energies, the elements, and knowing ourselves. Because when we're working our magic, it's so important to understand our channel. And we also want to know what channel we need to connect with to receive what we want or to work different cycles in our life. A few people are wait a couple minutes, and then I'm going to do the usual and pass the circle. If you have a candle lit, that's good. And if you have any questions, there is a chat, but I'm really bad at it. I'm still getting used to all this stuff. Okay. Nice. So let's cast the circle and get started. And just so you know, you do get an audio of the class. It takes a couple days usually, but you will get a copy of it, so you don't have to worry about taking lots of notes, okay? So let's cast a circle of protection. Imagine it all the way around the outside of your house. And let's get started. In this place that circles round, we consecrate the sacred ground. With golden light, the space around, all power here, contained and bound. From the north, the things that manifest. From the east, the things of mind. From the south, the things that motivate, and west, the souls refined. And yet no place or time there be between the worlds, our words and we. Ancient ones, come and see, our space is sealed, so mote it be. Welcome. I'm so excited about tonight. Oh my God, okay. So, for a few months, we have been going through connecting to who we actually are. And one of the major things in magic and communicating and co-creating with the divine is knowing ourselves. And that's one of the first laws in magic, to know ourselves. And so many of us have been enlightened and refreshed about the positive aspects of who we are and the negative aspects of who we are through different influences that we were born with and under. And what's awesome about that is when we learn that about ourselves, we can understand that those aspects are not our only essence. That's what we connect and relate to, and those energies are with everyone under those signs or numbers or whatever we've been discussing. Which means everything outside of those influences are of your own, and that's where the magic exists. So that's now that we've been able to hone our energies and understand what we feel like in different states. We're able to move forward. So I want to do that. So I had everyone make a healing hand spray. And I hope it smells good. The things you make are not meant to stink. They should always smell pleasant. And when I post these certain recipes, some of them will have the exact amount of stuff. But if I don't post that and you're using herbs or oils, you can use whatever you want. You just want to make it yours. And you want it to smell pleasant because that's how we heighten our experience with those things. So if you made your healing hand spray, that is something that you want to use often. If you're Reiki healers or do any type of healing work, you would use the spray before and after, and it's awesome. The other thing that I like to use the spray for is when I am learning how to channel the spirit or trying to connect with them on a different level. And it's always hard to, it's always harder for us to connect to spirit when it comes to personal things. So before I pull cards on very important life plan things that I'm considering in my life, I use those and I'll spray my hands and let myself pick those cards. From now, we want to learn how to activate ourselves. And we've talked about all the different consciousnesses, and some of you are newer, so you haven't learned that, but you will. And we learned to understand that when we're just processing our day, we are active in a certain level of consciousness. In order for us to receive more, we need to heighten it, our consciousness, and reach certain levels. And that is also why we have to know ourselves, is so that we can reach out beyond ourselves or also read what's around us and take care of those. So if you made your hand spray, what I want you to do is go into Gasho, and Gasho is just like this in front of the heart. And then when you do that, I would just close my eyes for a moment. And you want this to become your I don't know, your sign that the spirit is ready to work with you. So go into Gasho, hold it, connect to your hands. Then you want to turn your hands forward, out from your heart. And then when you bring them out and separate, take the spray, spray your left hand with your right and your right hand with your left. And then once you have them in your hands, you want to raise your hand up. And you want to try to get to the height of your crown chakra. Raise them up and then bring them down. And if you raise them up one more time and bring them down, pay attention to what you're feeling in your hands. Could you feel the energy above your hands? And do your hands go cold or warm? But you want to be able to feel a floating energy right about here. Feel the air. If you feel air, you're connecting to spirit. And is that air warm? Or is it cold? If it's cold, you're connecting to male spirit. If it's warm, or you're connecting to like the atmosphere of the warmth in the room, you're connecting to female spirit. Okay? So I want you to practice every day. Just connect with spirit. Go like this. I know it looks funny, but you'll know why. And soon you'll be able to understand what that mystery is, because we'll discuss it in the next class. And then feel the energy of spirit. So the thing is when we connect to spirit, it comes from above when we're connecting to higher realm spirits. Okay? So imagine our crown chakra is the funnel. So any of our ancestors, any of our spirit guides, any higher realm spirits will come in through there, and they will also flow out with ease wherever they can. And when we channel a higher spirit, and if all of our chakras and meridians are balanced, can you imagine the flow that's coming through you? It's not just one chakra. So it's really important for us to stay attuned And the only way to stay attuned is by being as authentic as we can and honoring our presence. Okay? And take note on how long your hands are activated. Because if you feel this for another half an hour, you're definitely meant to be healing something and directing energy in something. And you'll find that sometimes you'll feel it longer than others. So you want to take note on what your channel can actually do. How long can you feel that channel? And close your eyes and let yourself connect to it until you feel like the channel's left. Okay? The other thing is I posted all those videos about the angels and the archangels. And that's because those elements in magic are super important. And I wanted you to learn that all of these angels have to do with pre-religion. And most of them worked and connected to a divine goddess. And also her children. If you are connected to any of the sacred mysteries of the earth, you are a child of her. And there's an essence in you where you can communicate with the powers of nature. And for me, it's like the most magical thing in my life. Everything is a sign. Everything is a communication. And it gets to the point where if I go outside in my yard, Brett calls me Snow White. because the birds just come. And natively, I'm a Raven clan. But he just called me Snow White. Even if I just look out the window, they'll come. And it's because the more you're connected to yourself, the more you can connect with the forces of nature. So it's awesome. So we got into the archangels because those are higher powers that you were born with. And those are divine connections that we can use and expand in our life for anything we want. And so when we are doing magic, the first part of our magic is connecting to the elementals, because it doesn't matter what we're asking for, whether it's healing or money or intuitive abilities, it's the nature spirits that are bringing that about. Okay? We can't receive anything without the forces of nature. And that's what's making our life as it is. That's what's connecting us to all of this awesome stuff when we're in our flow. But those forces of nature, we always have to realize, are connected to divinity. And most of the world doesn't believe that. But that's why I wanted to post those angel videos, so that you can see that they're actually guardians of those elements of nature. And we are an element of nature. We are a force of nature. And we can have more than one force, and we do get more than one force as we evolve. So for us in magic, there's a lot of times we will call the angels. And it's the angelic power pre-religion. And it's that divine power that we're connected to. It's an omnipresent power that can never die. And so a lot of times when we need to heighten ourselves for the things that we're manifesting in our life, we want to reach towards certain spirits so that they take it off our plate and help us manifest it. And one of the things that I want to teach you today is how to connect with those angelic beings in your magic and in your focus. And I want you to focus on that through this month. So even though I posted, Archangel Ariel as for Aries, listen to it anyway, because you're going to be able to understand the essence of that angel, and also what color of a candle to burn, and also what energy to look for in the atmosphere. Now, some of you were in with the Imbolc ritual, and you would have learned that when we light candles at Imbolc, up until the full moon, the candles glow exactly like the ones in October, when the veils are thin. So this is the month where we want to open our communication with the universe and find what works for us, okay? So make sure you listen to all of those angelic videos so that you can say, oh, I need to break this influence, and you know what direction to go to or what angelic power you want or how to invoke it. Now, all of the times that we are walking and awake and working in ourselves and our path, we have all of these archangel powers around us. They rule hours of the day. So from now, you have to know that not only do we have spirit guides and animal totems and, oh, you wait what we get into, we have a genie. Like, we actually do. I'm going to teach you that. But we have all of these spirits that we can call upon, and they're all positive, and they don't hold judgments. They only process with our light. That's all they see. They don't see this. They just see our light. So if what we are going for in life is bringing us light or heightening our path, of course we're going to receive the support, because universal laws of existence work with our atoms, who we are, our neurons, everything. Personally, I believe it's all in between the atoms, that dark matter. To me, that's my God. Sounds crazy, but whatever. You're going to hear some crazy stuff, and that's okay. And anything that I say, you're going to ring true or not true for you, okay? I'm just teaching. When I teach, I'm teaching you things that work for me. And I teach a variety of it because some things might not work for you and other things will, and you'll find what works best. So whenever we are doing things in our life and we're out and about, you have Archangel Michael's power with you, okay? Because in this realm, we are connected to all of the consciousnesses. That's what's so magical about living in the middle world, okay? So Michael stands beside us in the south. So wherever you go, Archangel Michael is there. And when we use Archangel Michael in our magic, I see Michael as the old pagan god he once was. And he was the first spirit I ever saw in the magic mirror, and I fell in love with him. And it was awesome. He removes our blocks. You have a block, he's going to get rid of it. And it's super fast. And so for us as mystics, people are going to come to you because they have blocks in life. And you want to be able to be like, hey, I know how to break that block. And you'll have all of the necessary calculations that you're connected to, what consciousness they're in, so you know what auric body to work with, right? What, and where they need to go for the help, or what spirit they need to go. So Archangel Michael is the block breaker. And if I experience anything within me that I don't like, I ask him to take it out of me. Remove it with your sword. Pull that shit out. And what I like about that is when we do these things and we're cleansing ourselves, Archangel Michael is the one that is to break negativity. That's why he's seen as the one that fights the devil in Christianity. but he actually breaks blocks and clears negativity. So for me, when I experience a negative emotion, or if I'm like ready to kill, which doesn't happen very often, but when I am in that place, I usually don't know why. How did I get to that place? The spirit world knows. They know the deep, dark stuff. And we don't necessarily have to go there because our shadow selves is that expression. And it's also, you know, that talent, whatever it may be. Okay. So as we develop as mystics, you're going to learn about different spirits, different words, different tools and medicines. So Michael stands beside us and he's in the south. And you have to remember that south to us in magic represents our gifts and our passions. It also represents our distractions. So when we get distracted with things that are not part of our path and it's just wasting our time or putting us down, you're blocking Archangel Michael's flow. And whenever we get distracted, guess what happens? All of a sudden, shit comes up that we have to deal with mentally. It's always mentally. The distractions are trying to block that link. Raphael is at the left of us. So remember Raphael as the heart angel, and he actually guards and protects us with any of the spirits that are from the spirit world. So not just higher realm spirits, but ghosts. And so because we have Archangel Raphael at our heart, we can trust that anyone that's coming through on the left side of us, any energies that you feel on the left is family. If they're spirits of a place or another person, they're always come from the right. Okay? And so, because Raphael has to do with the left, he also has to do with the Eastern magic, which is allowing us to see the future. So when we are doing the things that we're calling in, it's Raphael's realm, his level of consciousness, that is carrying that through if it has to do with our future. He's protecting it. He's like the hermit, but not really. That's another spirit. But similar to the hermit that's ahead of us, waiting for us to arrive to the enlightenment. To say, hey, look what you did. You should be proud. And none of these things should ever be negative. Nothing is negative. If it's negative, it's mundane. It's mental attachment from yourself or someone else. Or how you're perceiving it, the level of consciousness that you're connected to. And we all go up and above. We all drop. And sometimes we drop, oh my gosh. But we always catch ourselves and change it. Okay, so we've already learned that habit. And that's what this part of our magic is actually going into, the law of correspondence. As above, so below. But so below as above. Most people just look at as above, so below. But we're living a mental, mundane life. And we get affected by what is below more than what is above. Unless we know ourselves and we're honoring our path and we're not distracted, right? Raphael is also a healing angel of the heart. And that's why he stands with our heart. He guards and protects our heart from evil entrance or from negativity. And he is connected to all of the air spirits and the breeze. that blows from the east. So if you walk out and all of a sudden you get hit with an east wind from the way the sun rises, that's him telling you you need to heal. Make sure you take some time to give yourself some healing energy. If you walk out and all of a sudden the wind hits you from the south, you need to cleanse, purify your mind. Something's getting at you. Sometimes if it's a really big wind, that means you need to make a choice about something. So if I walk out and it's like, whoo, I'm like, wow, what is it that I have to make a choice about? And when you know that the wind is giving you this energy, you're not going to deny it. Because when it works and you're like, holy shit, that's for real, it will always work. Okay? So Archangel Uriel is also the north, and he stands behind us. And the north is super important because the north represents the crone, or the elders, the old people. And it represents anything that's dying off. So when we are traumatized or we're carrying things from the past, our angelic connection with Archangel Uriel is not very strong. Right? And so that means that, yes, we need to heal and connect. There's something hidden in what we're suffering. Where is that hidden thing that's going to take that suffering away? And it just means that we need to be attuned. So when we stand outside and all of a sudden my front door faces the west. So when I stand out and I get that, I've been cleansed. That's like a smudging ceremony. And the stronger the wind, the more your soul needed to just get that refreshed feeling. So we will use the wind for so much. Archangel Gabriel is the west. Gabriel is the angel of family. If I ever need strength, like just strength in my being, I call Gabriel. If you ever need money and you're in a place where you're starting to feel like you're going into that security mode, Archangel Gabriel. Actually, I'd call them all. Because we're not meant to be in a security mode. That puts us in an unnatural state. And that's why a lot of people, when they go into that security mode, all of a sudden their spirituality just starts going beep, beep, beep. Hello, I'm around. Let me pull you out. Okay? So Gabriel is really good for physical body healing. Okay? We also will use Metatron. Archangel Metatron is above us. And Archangel Metatron is actually an angel that is more of a witness. So whenever I do magic that's important, like all magic is, but I mean like where I need angelic help, okay, like this manifestation is going to take a lot, then you know to use the angels, right? Metatron is the witness. He knows that I did a spell, a ritual, a ceremony for a specific purpose. So for him to help me receive that is super important. Okay? And it also helps you feel comfortable in your magic. You know, when I first started, I was like, I don't know, is, retiring at 40 selfish? You know what I mean? Like we all grow with what we experience. We all get enlightened with what we want, and we all question ourselves. And that's what Metatron does, is he's watching what we're going for and why. Where's the deep meaning? Is it mundane or is it true to you? Right? Are you doing it because you want someone else's attention, or is it because of your personal development? So he is awesome, because when you have angels around that are witnessing your magic, you're not going to be let down. There's no way. It would be completely impossible. We also have Sandalphon. So I'm going to post some videos on these two, the above and below. Sandalphon is below. Now you have to remember, when we're walking around, our energy is 4 feet under. And that's why a lot of sensitive people can't walk long in malls or where it's lots of cement, because their energy is fighting through that. And that's also why the most spirited places are cement places. Anything that has cement or any type of porcelain, because it holds and traps energy. It can't actually be released unless it's directed or has some kind of elemental help around it. And that's why old places can build up in power. It's like they're all attracted to the party. So you want to take note on how you're feeling when you're walking around in your days. Because if you're picking up a lot of stuff from below, then you know that you want more of a channel to come through. Okay? So we want to align to these energies. They're important. And they are connected to our nature spirits. So I'm going to take things a little farther with you through the month as far as connecting to spirits. But I have a couple of things I want us to do. So I was talking about the air, and I want to go a little more into it because I want you to focus on air magic this month. What is the air telling you each day? And it is so important, because you could go for a walk and all of a sudden when you're walking around with your friends and the air changes, you're going to know what that means. And there's usually a spirit around it, or even, you know, an animal from that realm. To me, air is a god. I believe that every atom in the air is something. And so when we work magic, we know that we can create and invoke different energies in our atmosphere. And that's why we like it fuzzy. You can see how fuzzy it's getting in here from my stuff burning, because there is a veil. There's a veil to the spirit world, and there's a veil into each consciousness. So when we know how to access that and attune ourselves to where we want to go and what we can connect with, it's usually through the air and the atmosphere. Okay? Okay. So let's go into a little bit more about the air magic. So if air didn't exist, we wouldn't have life. We know that. It's as simple as that. But the winds for thousands of years have been brought power and force. And we look at these winds as north, south, east, or west. They're blowing in one of those, and if not, there's a hurricane or cyclone. And the wind speaks. So we've had a lot of storms. And when you listen to the wind, is it female? Is it male? Is it grumpy? Is it childlike? And you'll see what type of energy is in play. Okay? And what you hear in the wind is not what someone's going to hear in the wind a block away from your house. Just like the color green, all of us would see differently. So it's really important for us to open ourselves to learning how to communicate and creating that connection. Okay? So when the north wind comes, something is coming to an end. And if it blows in the day that you feel it, it's active in that day. So as soon as I walk out the door, if I feel a north wind, I know, okay, something's coming to an end. It doesn't mean physical death, but it does mean that it is something that needs to go into an elimination because it's negative. So north wind lets us know negative something has to go. Hey, that almost rhymed. That's cool. Okay. And whenever it is a magical north wind, you will feel a little chill, even in the hottest summer day. So if you feel just that little bit of a breeze, then you know, okay, that's true. Something is definitely coming to an end. The spirit thinks it's got to go. I'm going to trust that. And you use that as your personal power to deal with the situation. The same thing will happen if you're in a depressed, anxious state, or if you're envious or jealous, if you're angry. So you got to check yourself as soon as the wind comes from the west. Okay? And also, if you want to break a bad habit, we would use the power of the north. Okay? And that will break any habit because it directly affects our physical being. The north wind is also represents our dreams. So a lot of times with the north wind, we receive insights and connections that have to do with our prosperity. Okay? And whenever we dream of prosperity, it represents the north blessing you. Okay? So the east wind, we know that the east is our future. So anytime we move towards our future, the east is in play. It's new beginnings. It represents a renewed life. If I am walking my path and all of a sudden it's like too stressful and I'm not liking it, I face the east and I'm like, bring it on. I want a new path. This one sucks. I'm feeling this way. Take it. I don't want it. Because we can change our path anytime we want. And when we directly speak to the east direction, that's where we receive our guidance, because all of the power of the east knows where we're headed, body, mind, and spirit. And those are the destined things. So even if we drop and we fall and we're, in a mental rut for a few weeks, it doesn't matter. The things that are destined are still on that golden path, the yellow brick road. That's what I call it, because it is yellow for east. So whenever you are tired of someone or something, and you need a new path or a new cycle started with them, and remember, it's always going to be positive, the east. Okay? If you're dealing with frustrations and it's like, oh my God, I can't handle that person. I need to protect myself from their energy for a little while so the universe can just take care of them. Fire. Please, you're distracting my time. Right? So we use those. So the east represents healing and sparks of creation. So we want to make sure that the things we're focusing on is going to make us better. It's going to develop us. And that includes our topics in life that arise. Because even though we're talking about the spirit of stuff, whatever pops up in life, whether it's a person or a situation, that's part of your purpose too. How you're going to handle it is going to give you the result. So it represents the mind. To heal the mind, we have to look at the future. So whenever you want to change your mind, start questioning things about the future. So the west, and of course the time of the east wind is in the morning when the sun is rising. South wind represents our passions. It's the element fire, we know that. But when the wind is blowing, it's a really good time to cast spells. So if all of a sudden you're outside and you get that wind hitting you in the face from the south, it wants you to cast a spell about something. What is it that day? And that's because power needs to come into that situation or topic. So if you're like stressed about something, the next thing that you get stressed about, go outside. What wind is hitting you? And I would even go try it for a different topic. How is my money situation? Step outside, feel the air. What way is it coming in? And we can have fun with that through the month. Okay? But during the certain seasons, certain winds change, just like Mary Poppins, if you saw that, right? All of a sudden the wind direction changed, off she went. It's the same with the spirit of nature. So the south wind is our afternoon. It's during the noon time, and it also represents things that we need to know, spells that need to be performed, energy that needs to be invoked, a source of power. And you know what? Most of the time, if I do, I'm going to be honest here, because a lot of times, yes, it tells you you need to do a spell. But for me, when I walk out and I feel that south wind, I just tell myself, candles getting lit. And just by simply connecting to the candle, lighting it up, you're going to receive the energy that you need. So try that too. Whenever you feel a south wind, light a candle. But try to take note on what it is in your life that day that is needing the power invoked. And the only way you need to connect to the powers is by standing in that direction and opening yourself up to it and then feeling it. Even when you're in the house, no, we don't have the breeze going through, but if you're standing in the direction and you focus on it, you'll feel the coolness hit you. Okay? So you want to focus on invoking those energies around you and see how it works. The other thing I want you to focus on this month is actually working with one wind. So pick a wind, and 3 times this month, go outside, take note on the wind that's occurring, turn to the energy and the wind's direction that you want, and call it. So when I call the wind, I always go into Gasho first, and then I open myself, and I put my hands down. And when I put my hands down by my hips, not like right on my hips, but just kind of at an angle, you'll feel the power hitting your hand differently than if they were up like this, okay? And then go in the direction and see if you get a response from the wind, and you will. This type of work is really sacred. And a lot of you know I have a teepee, but when I channel with spirit, and in the summertime when I'm working in the teepee, there's a ceremony called the shaking tent ceremony. And that's when we invoke certain ancestral spirits, and they will shake that tent on call. So it's really cool to start to learn how to work and change the direction of the wind. And it may take a few times, but when you know you've got the call, some people will actually whistle. And there's actually names of the wind and each breeze. And we'll get into that later, okay? But until you're able to like feel that and you're confident in that, we won't move forward into calling certain summoning spirits, okay? The other thing I want you to do is make a decision. So I want you to first raise the wind and learn how to raise the wind in the direction that you want. And then I want you to ask, am I safe financially? And feel it. What direction hits you? Is my body in a healing state? What element is healing my body? I want you to ask questions about everything you're concerned about, because I want you to shed it this month. This is the start of our path where we start to manifest things, and we're working with spirit. And it's really important for us to learn how to let go of stuff, but actually call it. So that when you are in a real estate meeting and you're buying a house, you got the power. Okay? And it works. My husband and I flipped 22 houses in our life. And it was because we loved to negotiate. We were like fuckers. It was fun though. So you can use this to attain things that you need, right? And your connection will let you know when you're starting to cross a little boundary. It'll straighten you up, so you don't have to worry about, turning into the Wicked Witch of the West. Okay? The other thing that I do want to do is also talk about, some of you may have a wand, but because we are going into a place of connecting to the different winds, I do want you to search for a wand. And some of you may have found one because Imbolc was traditionally for a birch. But I want you to find a piece of wood. And I want you to specifically do it for this class. Okay, so even if you have other wands and they're amazing, we want a new one for this class. Okay? So I also want you to pick the wood intentionally by a tree that you recognize. So don't go picking a stick on a path and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what kind of wood this is. I want you to pick one from a tree or area that you know, okay? And this is really important for our next class. Then I want you to actually bless it, okay? And when you bless the wand, I'm gonna go through it right now with what I want you to do. So I want you to go to the tree, and you need to connect with the tree with your left hand. And you have to make sure you feel any type of energy or frequency. And make sure that you take some kind of herb as an offering. And of course, you can use any type of offerings, but for this one, I want you to use some kind of herb from your kitchen. So anything, even if it's pepper. Okay, fairies like dopamine. Either way. Okay, so have a piece of some herb to take. That's what you're going to use for an offering. And when you go to the tree, I want you to focus on the sky connection. And I want you to focus right on the very tip of your head. And you have to hold the tree until you actually feel like something's touching your head. Or like a channel opened up. You're going to know because it should be like a super acute feeling. That's the tree spirit. Every tree has a spirit. And if you're having trouble feeling it, then look. Step back and look at the tree and try to find its face or an eye. Okay? So when you find the stick around the tree that you choose, you can cut it if you want. I typically don't like to cut. But if you want to, you can cut it for this. And then when you go home, I want you to say this. So you're going to connect sea salt and water. And then as you swirl it 3 times, you say, I welcome thee with water and earth. And then put that from the tip of your wand down. So from the tip to the handle. Then I want you to blow on the water somewhere on the branch. And I want you to say, I welcome thee with the air of my body. And blow on it 2 more times. So blow once, say, I welcome thee with the air of my body, and then blow 2 more times. Then I want you to put the branch in between your hands, just like we had in Gasho. Okay, so flat with it in your hands. And I want you to say, I welcome thee with the fire of life. And you have to wait until you feel warmth. Now at this point, are you feeling the warmth first from your left hand or your right hand? And that's important. Left hand is receiving and the energy of the spirit, right hand is manifesting with the wand. If it's the left hand, the wand wants you to put desires into it. If it's the right hand, you're already ready to go. The fire element already knows what you want in your life. Then I want you to get some oil. So either olive oil is actually best, or you can use coconut, any type of oil that you have in your kitchen, okay? And I want you to rub it. And you gotta rub it quickly. And you need to rub it back and forth 3 times. So from the tip to the handle, then from the handle to the tip, and then back down to the tip to the handle. And then say, the tops of the trees will sprout. They'll change and renew from my withered state. It sounds weird. Could you hear? So the tops of the trees will sprout. They'll change and renew from my withered state. So we are getting rid of anything that is not for our higher self. And we acknowledge that the tree spirit and the energy of that wand is going to protect us. Okay? Once you've anointed it, then you're going to want to say this. I will post this ritual as a separate audio as well. So you'll hold your creature, or you'll hold your creature. It will be. So you'll hold your wand, and you want to face wherever your special altar is, or if you have a shelf that you have special things on, or where you're going to keep your wand, face that and say, strong creature from before time of my own, you without flesh, you without bone, you without vein, you without blood, without head, but who opens to bud. You who are as wide as the earth, but who never were born. Lend me now your magic from the magical thorn or horn. So traditionally, in the ancient times, you heard me say thorn with a Thorn. In the old days, The first wood that they would use for magic was a rose stem. And what they would do is they would do this ceremony, and then they would let the thorn poke their finger. And if they got a little bit of blood, that was the sign that they were entered into the great mysteries. Okay, we're not doing that. We're just doing this way, okay? But, so say horn, from the magical horn, okay? And the reason why it's called a magical horn is because whenever we listen to the wind, if we ever hear a whistle or a horn, that means that the elemental spirits are at play. They're at work. And that means that you're going to receive some kind of blessing. So then that's our sign. As soon as you hear the wind and it's like, whoo, it's like that breeze and it's a whistle, start watching for blessings coming your way. Okay? Something good. What is it? Okay? So I want you to do that. I'm going to do it too. Everything that I tell you guys to do, I do too. And we'll have fun with it. And then we did the air magic. Let's see what else. This month too, I want you to focus on quartz crystal. If you have a quartz crystal, it can be a tumbled stone or it can be a point. I'm going to do a video on the quartz crystal and what I want you to do with it. But I do want you to start experimenting with elixirs and different teas, because that's huge. If someone comes to you and they're like, oh my God, my body aches, the first thing you're gonna want to do is to get them to try a few different things. And I like to implement something from every element, because when we're connected to all the elements in our healing or our magic or our spells, you're good. You're covered. Okay? So I'll post something on that as well. So until then, until you get that video posted, get a quartz crystal. And if you do, you got to rub it. Okay? And a lot of this is going to be on the video. I'm going to teach you about 2 different ways. And the way that I'm going to teach you with this crystal healing is actually something that comes from my grandfather. So my great-grandfather was a medicine man, and he typically worked with 89 herbs. And some of them are awesome. So I want to share some of these medicines and also the Native American way of doing this crystal healing. Okay, and so I'll post that once I get it done, and then you can try it out and see how you like it. And some of you have probably done healings with crystals and that's awesome. But I want you to try it this way, just so that we're all doing the same thing and we can share our experiences. So until I post that, I want you to start drinking the water, the crystal water. Okay, so get it all electrified and then put it in. If you have a water bottle as amazing as hers, that's awesome. As well as even a jug of water. Just make sure you don't drink the crystal. And when you're activating it, make sure you tell the crystal how much you want to weigh and the things that you need to be healed from. And as well as to activate. So I always say perfect wealth, perfect health, and I always say thank you to my water. And I have to share a story before we go. So my first store was called Crystals, Dreams, and Magical Themes, okay? And I was teaching about the crystals and stuff. Well, this guy, he's still friends with me. His name's Dougie, and they're like these biker dudes, right? They own all of Save on Gas. Either way. So he's got the crystal in his water bottle and everything, and he put one in his buddies. So they're in the truck driving around. His buddy is like over 300 pounds. So his buddy's starting to drink the water, doesn't really notice anything. I guess he thought it was an ice cube because he swallowed it. And he said that it took about a week for it to come out. But even though it took a week for it to come out, he never felt better. And he said it was really weird. And it actually kickstarted him on a healthy path. And he lost 150 pounds in 2 years. So crystal water is awesome. And in the old days, they would put crystals into the wells. And I have a container in my well that has crystal, citrine, and amethyst, right? So that's been used for thousands of years. The old medicine man, you went to an old medicine man on a reserve and he held you a glass of water with a green stone, you drink it. And with the blend of herbs and stones, you know, I want you to be able to have the medicine cabinet so that if someone comes to you, you're like, yeah, I know how to help you. And you can put them in a state, whether you have something in your cabinet or you know what spirit to call upon. So I have a feeling we're gonna have so much fun this month. And I will do the same, keep posting videos of things. And some things may be a surprise and you'll be like, what? Why would she post that? Just go along with it. Okay, I know I can be confusing. I'm also very scattered and probably only did a third of the class that I wanted to do today. So I have lots coming for the rest of the month. And before I go, let us pick a card for this month, the power behind us. So I am using the Super Attractor, Gabriel Bernstein. I like her. I like her better than Doreen Virtue. Okay. When I merge my desire with faith, I can take action from a place of peace rather than control. This is huge because it does fit with what we want to connect with this month. And that is what we desire, and having faith that we do have the power around us 24/7. And even though we're not focusing on the things that we desire 24/7, there is universal laws that are, and the same as the spirits that are carrying it through. So we'll get into communicating with spirit. There's another one that I'm going to do that has to do with protection. So I got a few things that I'm going to do, and then I want to get into universal laws of magic. So we're starting to get a team there. Now, if anyone has any questions, please unmute. You can ask any questions you want if you have any. Or if you want to share anything that happened last month or how you're finding the things that you made,